Sims news is here, bringing good cheer. Or not. Maybe bad cheer? Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make a quick update video because we've gotten more news about the Paranormal Stuff Pack that's coming out for The Sims 4 in just 1 week. In addition to a new Paranormal Stuff Pack, we're also getting a new Scared emotion, and this is coming as an update to the base game. So Sim Guru Connor, who seems to be a big part of this Paranormal Stuff Pack, has posted on Twitter this GIF of Sims performing a seance at the Seance Table and a link to a discussion on the official Sims forums. I really do like these developer blogs because they give us a little bit more information before the release of the packs. So let's see what they have to say. Seances for everyone. The Seance Table is here. Scare your friends, summon the unexpected. This thing is capable of all sorts of spiritual meddling and functions on any lot. So I like the idea of a new gameplay object coming in the new pack. I have to see if this is going to be one of those things that like you never play with, like the popcorn machine or like the ice cream maker or like whatever, however many gazillions of things that I never actually use in my gameplay because they don't really relate to everyday life for my Sims. This in fact is probably going to be used even less frequently than like a popcorn maker. At least you could find a use for that. It does look fun, but I just don't know how often I'll use it. I'll say that. The Seance Table can be decorated too. It's a table surface, so you can put a crystal ball on top. That's pretty cool. You can also use the Seance Table to develop your medium skill. Okay, so this actually does give me a reason to use it. I love new skills in The Sims. I always like to give my Sims another option for a life path to go down, new skills to learn. I like the idea of having a medium sim and learning the medium skill. And it looks like you can unlock new seances, you can host group seances, and you have the ability to draw chalk seance circles anywhere in the world. And if you're a spellcaster sim, you'll gain skill much faster due to your familiarity with the mystical arts. I have played a little bit with spellcasters, and I like the idea that this will add a little something extra for them, or it's something that any sim can do. So one of the main purposes of the Seance Table, according to this blog, is to perform a ceremony that strengthens the spiritual serenity of the house, making it a little less creepy. But if the seance is interrupted for any reason, it might have the adverse effect. This sounds like a consequence. Could it be? Could there be a consequence in The Sims 4 for an action? I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this because every time I hear something that sounds like it's going to be a consequence in The Sims 4, it never ends up being as good as it sounds like it's going to be. So I have my reservations about this. So far, I like the idea that we're getting a new gameplay object and a new skill and something new for our Sims to experience. Whether this is going to be just dead-ass boring, I don't know. Seances include the ability to commune with the dearly departed. I saw a comment, I don't know if it was on YouTube or Twitter, where somebody said, what is the point of that? Because we can already talk to our ghost Sims. So I agree with that sentiment. What is the point of this? How is this different from actually being able to just talk to any old ghost like we can already? It says hopefully they'll offer some sagely wisdom, or perhaps they'll just insult you. Who knows? Great for parties. Still not 100% sure on what that exactly means. I'm gonna have to see it in the game. Or if you're really looking to stir up some trouble, you can also invoke spirits from the Seance Table. Like a ghostly grab bag, just reach in and pull out something deceased. That sounds fun. If there could be unexpected events, I'm always happy to hear anything that is gonna give us some unpredictability in the game. Hopefully this will be one of those things and not just something you do like 3 times, you've experienced all the scenarios and it's done. Okay, so that's the Seance Table. Let's talk Bonehilda. We've got a little bit more information about Bonehilda since my last video. She'll clean, fix your electronics, garden, fight fires, lay out snacks, and more. So she does all the traditional things that Bonehilda does, plus a few more. Summon her on the Seance Table or Seance Circle whenever or wherever you need her. So we already know she's not coming with her coffin like she did in The Sims 3, which is a bit of a disappointment for many people. I have to tell you honestly, Bonehilda's not a huge part of my personal gameplay. I only use her very infrequently in households where I feel it makes sense, like the Goths. But when I do have her, I would really like to have her coffin in the home with the Sims, living with them. Yes, I realize she never actually moved in as a roommate or a part of the family, but she felt like she was part of the family because you could dismiss her and she would retire to her coffin, which I usually put in the attic or the basement, and it felt like she lived there and she was part of your family. Now she's just going to be summoned from the seance table. I have a couple questions about this. First of all, how difficult is it going to be to summon her? Do you have to set up a whole seance and it's going to be this huge time-consuming event every time you want to summon her? How long does she stay in the house after you've summoned her? Does she stay until you dismiss her? Because if so, that would be all right, I guess. But I think most people were just upset about the coffin thing because they expected her to be the classic Bonehilda, and she doesn't feel the same without her coffin that she's always had in the previous games. It says she'll also be your buddy, as long as your Sims don't mind being around a fully sentient skeleton, that is, but I hear they're pretty open-minded. Bonehilda won't ask for anything in return either, she's just here to have a good time. Another feature that they've added to Bonehilda, according to this blog, is that she has a great protective instinct and she will swiftly and enthusiastically show harmful ghosts the door. So it looks like they did tie her into the Paranormal Stuff Pack by making her fight ghosts for you or something. So all of my Bonehilda questions have not been answered. But I hope that I'll get to see more when they do the live stream, and then of course whenever I get the pack next week. So now the Paranormal Investigator career. This career is only available for Sims with a Paranormal Investigator license, and you can get a license by becoming a Master Medium, I guess by using the Seance Table, and becoming certified by Gidry the Ghost. Or you can purchase one in the reward store, which I think is just... I think that sucks. I don't think you should be able to just purchase one from the reward store personally. I get that people just want to be an instant investigator, but I think you should actually have to go through some kind of training, like becoming a medium. I don't know, that's just personal preference. But you will be able to purchase one in the reward store. The career is aimed for Sims who have mastered the paranormal and will have to use everything they've learned while living in a haunted house to their advantage. So you are going to have gigs. You'll be sent 3 gigs to choose from at a time: easy, normal, or a hard investigation. And once you selected the difficulty, you'll be instructed at 9:30 p.m. to go out on an investigation to an undisclosed location. I'm liking the sound of this. It reminds me of how it works in The Sims 3, how the locations just pop up every night and you can go and accept those jobs and you never know where it's going to be. So it makes it a little bit more exciting. Where will the investigation take you? Anywhere. Well, any residence at least. So it sounds like you'll be able to go to any residential lot, and I assume this is going to be in any world that you have installed. It doesn't specify that, but that's what it sounds like to me. Sometimes the pancakes will have a bit of a specter infestation. Sometimes Goth Manor will need an exorcist. It's your job as a paranormal investigator to go wherever the action is and snuff out any unwanted spirits. So the investigator career, it doesn't sound horrible to me. I found the Sims 3 Ghost Hunter career to be repetitive, just like I find most of the active careers to get repetitive over time. I don't think this is going to be any exception, but I don't think this one in The Sims 4 sounds any worse than any of the previous games, but we'll just have to get in there and see. And you won't just be sent to pre-made Sims houses, but also your own created households. I also really like the sound of that. So if you like to play rotationally in a neighborhood like I do, then some of your houses that you're not currently playing may become haunted. Now, I know this is not everyone's cup of tea, so I would say if you don't like the idea of some of your households becoming haunted and requiring an exorcism, so to speak, you probably don't want to get this pack because it looks like it's just going to choose a residential lot at random. It could be one of your played households or one of the unplayed households. And don't worry, the house won't be permanently haunted either. You'll have control over that with the haunted lot type. So I'm not sure what that exactly means. I think that wording is a little bit confusing, so I'm not exactly sure. Like right here it says any residence can become haunted, and over here it says you'll have control of that with the haunted lot type. So I'm not sure which it is. Finishing these gigs on time leads to all sorts of weird and strange rewards. Feel free to hang up your specter in a jar as a trophy or mass a collection of exercised dolls. Well, I always like more stuff for my Sims, especially weird stuff for my weirdo Sims. It's a freelance career and you can take the gigs whenever you want. I both like this and dislike this. I like the idea of taking gigs as a ghost hunter or a paranormal investigator. I'm sorry, I'm calling it ghost hunter. But I would also like the option to be able to send your Sim to a gig without you, kind of like you can send your Sim to work as a scientist or detective and you don't have to go with them. So if you get sick of of playing it, if it's just too repetitive for you and you don't want to keep going to work with them every time, you could still send them and earn money. I don't think that's how this is going to work because it's a freelance career and not technically an active career like the 3 we got with Get to Work. Back on Twitter, Sim Guru Connor answered several questions in the comments of this tweet, so I want to go over those and give you all the information that we have so far. Will there be any specific conflict if I have Bonehilda, Butler, and other services working at the same time? That is a good question. Sim Guru Connor says, shouldn't be any conflict between Bonehilda and Butlers. They should work together. Maids you hire over the phone might have a small issue with Bonehilda, though. So that's good. She's still going to scare off the maids like she did in the previous games, and I love that. I love that about Bonehilda. I love her being a spooky girl. Say I wanted to become a paranormal investigator without living in a haunted house myself. Can I summon Gidry to certify me, or would I have to go through the reward store? And Sim Guru Connor says it'll be hard to find Gidry without setting foot in a haunted house first. Purchasing the license from the reward store might be your best bet. Again, I really dislike the whole purchasing it from the reward store. It just feels cheap to me. But that's just a personal preference, and I would never do that. If I wanted my sim to become a paranormal investigator, I would make them go through everything that they had to go through to get it legitimately. I guess, you know, it being in the reward store does make it legitimate according to the game, but not according to me. Apparently, a solid chunk of the live stream on Friday will cover build and buy mode stuff, which to me is the least exciting thing that comes in a pack. Like, yeah, I'm always down to get more build and buy mode stuff, but I'm much more concerned with the gameplay aspects. Someone asked, are those new pants? And he says yes, so we're getting new clothing, which we kind of already suspected from the renders that we've seen so far. And that's about it as far as answers that I see on this tweet as of right now. I'm still feeling quite skeptical of this. I'm gonna have to try it out and see how it goes, but I'm feeling concerned that it's gonna be one of those things that I put in my game, I play it once, and I never play it again. Of course, it doesn't fit into the realistic gameplay that I prefer, but I do really enjoy paranormal stuff like Ghosts and Aliens, so I could see myself having a sim doing this career every once in a while, just like I have a sim become a detective or a scientist or whatever every once in a while. It's not going to be something that you're going to have every single sim experience. Will it be fun? I don't know. That's up in the air. I don't hate it like I did Journey to Butthole, but once again, I am skeptical. I went from being cautiously optimistic to a bit disappointed about what they did to Bonehilda. Now that I have more information about Bonehilda, I'm back to kind of skeptical / cautiously optimistic. It's a roller coaster of emotions for me on this pack, I'm telling you. Now, I also want to talk about the scared emotion because I haven't covered this in any of my update videos yet. The only reason we knew about this new emotion is because Sim Guru Connor tweeted this screenshot that shows a sim being scared. Now, I am all for adding more emotions to the game, but I really do wish that we could have the emotional tuning and the autonomy improved because I feel like this is going to be another emotion that's poorly tuned, doesn't work well, and we're gonna have mods to make it behave properly in the game. That is just my expectation based on the track record of the game so far. I don't see how this particular emotion could work any better than the ones we currently have with the underlying coding that we currently have. One thing I do like about it is they did actually try to incorporate this into all of the game instead of it just being slapped in there with no thought to the previous packs. So here, Nando asks, what impacts scared emotion? Just some examples, please. Sim Guru Connor says, well, besides Ghost, I converted like 60-something base game and cross-pack buffs to the scared emotion. If the buff had scared or phobia in the name, it probably got converted. So I think things like kids having the monster under the bed, they'll probably now be scared instead of uncomfortable, and that is really cool to me. Like, I like that so much better. There are so many instances of Sims being uncomfortable when that emotion doesn't really apply. Even when your toddlers wake up in the middle of the night from a nightmare and they're uncomfortable, I'm hoping that they'll actually be scared now. So if there's 60 base game and cross-pack buffs that have been turned to scared, at least they did give some thought to integrating this new emotion into the complete game and not just throwing in the scared emotion and it only being applicable to seeing a ghost from this particular pack. The Sims 4 has a tendency to put out new content with no thought to previous content, such as no longer creating whims for new expansion packs, which is a big problem for me, and no longer creating club activities for new content, which is also a big problem for me because those are two features that I use extensively in my games. So I am happy to see some thought was put into this. How deep that goes, I don't know until we actually see the pack. Will there be whims for this pack? Will Sims get a whim to become a medium or see a ghost or do a seance? I would really like that, but I am not counting on it, considering they have had no new whims for the last several expansions. I think this is probably something, once again, we're going to have to rely on mods for. Hopefully, the creator of the whim overhaul will put out some whims for the new pack. That being said, if they did put out a whim, I wouldn't want every single sim in town to get a whim to become a medium. It would need to be a certain type of sim that maybe had a certain type of trait that would get those whims. But this is the kind of depth that we don't have in The Sims 4, so I do not have high hopes for any of that. All I can hope for is that mods can make this work for me. The number of times that I've had to say that is incredibly sad, but that's the state of The Sims 4 today, unfortunately. I feel like every single one of my news videos just ends in me ranting about the state of The Sims 4. I can't help myself. I'm so passionate about it. Oh, and in case you're wondering, there will be no new death. Your Sims cannot be scared to death, unfortunately. I was really hoping for a new death type with this, that your Sims could actually die of fright, but according to Sim Guru Connor, no, there is no new death type. Oh, one more thing about Bonehilda. Before we go, I gotta leave the absolute best part. You can woohoo Bonehilda. I don't know who wants to bone. I don't know who wants to bone Bonehilda. I don't know who wants to bone Bonehilda, but you can bone her with your own bone. You can woohoo Bonehilda. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? Now, in addition to the new scared emotion, there's also a new brave trait. But of course, it always comes with a catch. It sounds great that we're getting a new trait for our Sims. God knows we need more traits. But unfortunately, this is going to be a reward trait, which I hate and despise reward traits. That's a video for another day, but the brave trait will be a reward trait. Sim Guru Connor says he wants every sim to have the opportunity to be brave. That's all well and good. I'm not exactly sure what the brave trait does, if it makes them, maybe they don't get scared when they're doing the paranormal investigator career or encountering spirits. I assume that's what it's going to be like. I would like for the brave trait to be more overarching, kind of like it was in The Sims 3. So it's not just related to this specific pack, but it sounds to me like it probably will be. It's just going to be a reward trait that's going to keep your Sims from getting scared. That's what I think, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to wait and see more information on that. So even though there's no scared to death here, according to Sim Guru Connor, haunted houses will still have ways of killing your Sims. Not exactly sure what that means, but I do like that there's some kind of consequence somewhere. Things that are noticeably missing that people have requested in this type of pack. Cemeteries, there will be no cemetery lot type, which is something I've wanted personally for a very long time, and they have never added to the game. I honestly don't think they ever will, but I hope to someday be pleasantly surprised. No ghost babies. So you will not be able to have ghost babies in The Sims 4 like you can in The Sims 3. No scared to death, and no Bonehilda's coffin. So those are the things that I see that are noticeably missing. Or not necessarily missing, but just weren't included, I guess I should say. There's also no new radio station. Somebody asked about a radio station, but Sim Guru Connor says that there are new base game tracks added, which I'm happy about. I'm always very happy with the Sims 4 music. Sims 2 music will always be my favorite, hands down, but Sims 4 comes in second because they do have a very good soundtrack. I think there's only like one song I don't like, and it's the one that has like whistles and sounds like it's a circus. So now I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about the new information that we have, or all the information that we have so far? Are you excited about the new emotion? Are you just feeling blah and lackluster about this whole freaking thing? I really appreciate you guys leaving all your comments on the previous videos. It was very interesting to hear the difference in opinion. Some people are very excited about this pack. Some people are just so pissed at The Sims 4 they just can't even. Some people are like me and kind of in the middle, hopeful, a little disappointed in what we've seen so far. but willing to give it a chance. Personally, I feel The Sims 4 is in a bad state right now. Without mods especially, it's virtually unplayable. I still don't understand why nobody has addressed the simulation lag that plagues our games, but we'll see. There's more information coming out. The new emotion is coming out for Basegame in, I believe, like 2 days. We're going to get a live stream to actually show us some of this stuff in action on Friday, and then the pack itself is coming out next week. I will get it as soon as possible and give you my honest review. I'm excited to actually try it for myself. So instead of just reading posts and tweets, I can actually see what it's going to be like. My name is Cindy, and I'll see you guys with a new video very soon. Thank you so much for watching.